What's going on YouTube? Today we got a locals report and a new video series I'm going to be trying. I will be attending the YCS in Raleigh, North Carolina in the middle of April, and I've decided that I'm going to probably just end up taking Raidraptors just to have some fun. Not that fire isn't fun or anything like that, but I want to take a rogue deck to a YCS for the first time really. And I've been really enjoying the playstyle and the deck in general for Raidraptor. I never had any true calling to the deck before, and the new support definitely helped with that. But just watching the gameplay and the results of this deck really made me want to try it. I'm genuinely enjoying it, having a lot of fun. I think it's a really good rogue contender, and potentially even could work its way up to being tier 2 or something. But as I said, this is also a locals report. I plan on doing these once a week, these local reports, to see if there's any big changes, or there's anything I would have done differently about the deck. But the main goal of this is to see the progress starting from today all the way up to the YCS. And the first real test we have for this deck is a regional this Sunday up at South Park Township, hosted by Top Deck Cards and Games. So if you're in the area, come up, say hi, but I'll be playing this. Maybe not exactly this list, but the deck. We're going to be playing this for a month straight, so future matches, once I know that I have a tripod again, will begin. I haven't had a tripod for a few weeks. It got stolen, which, kind of weird thing to steal, but, everybody's got a different prerogative. Shout out to sponsor for Horseman Comics and Gaming, and everybody who helped build this deck. A lot of bulk that had to be found, but eventually got there, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. This might be a little bit more in-depth, we'll see. A lot of the Raidraptor stuff has been explained pretty thoroughly. This isn't my idea. I didn't come up with this, so yeah. Here's for the list. So 3 Tribute Lanius, the best card by most people's opinion. I don't think this card is the best card. I know it's a really good one-card starter and it gets you things like Raiders Wing into the Grave, but it's in my opinion, the best starter is the Bloom Vulture. So, Tribute is the best one-card starter for sure, because I'm pretty sure in the entire Raidraptor strategy, this is the only one-card starter. But if you have 2, then Bloom Vulture is easily the best. These 2 cards are crazy. For the archetype, just all the legacy support that works with them. The Bloom Vulture was pretty much not what the deck needed, but really gave it an extra layer of power behind it, because not only can this summon 2 from hand, this can summon 2 from grave if your board gets cleared somehow, or you just start really awkwardly. So this card's great. Definitely need 3 of each of these. And then the other mandatory 3 of, in my opinion, is the Strangulanius card is ridiculously good as well. The fact that it's an extender that also gives you a Monster Reborn effect is quite ridiculous. I really like this card. It's really cool to see how much extension this deck has. And then in my opinion, the best card, Raiders Wing. Obviously you can't combo with just this. That's why Tribute Lanius is better. But if this card could combo by itself, this would be absurd. Thank goodness it can't. But this card just giving protection from things like Imperm and Failure is really important, especially in this format. There's nothing really needed to be said about these. These are kind of just the staple 12 that every Raidraptor deck will play. Some people I'll see play 2 of this. I think that's just wildly incorrect. You want to see the card in your opening hand. You may not want to see 2 very often, obviously, but it's even an extender from grave, so card's just really good. Now for the other Raidraptors, I'm on 2 Fuzzy. This came up exactly once, so this was only 2 and not 3, because I drew 1. But at that point, the Tribulania, I drew this in Tribulania, so there's no real good card to dump except for Mimicry, which we'll get into in a moment. But the fact that you can just normal Raiders Wing, special this, and then make Raiders Knight, and now you have the follow-up, plus you got to Raiders Knight that can't be targeted. It's very good. Going forward, I might try out 3 though, just so I could see it more often as the extender part, not really caring about the grave effect, to be honest with you. Then there's 2 Noir Lanius. This card is ridiculous. It's part of the Phantom Nightmare support. You target any Raidraptor on the field, including itself, and then you can add one that has a different level. So we haven't gotten to that part yet, but the complementary monster for that is the Heel Eagle. But we're not playing Pain Lanius, and I'll explain why in a minute. But then you just add it to your hand. So the reason that's so good is because like this is your link play for when you get to like the middle of your combo, and this will let you buy back the rank up magic that made your first Falcon. So the fact that you get to make 2 Falcons off of this is really nice. The reason we're not playing Pain Lanius, this deck takes a long time to combo and is pretty resilient to hand traps. So a lot of the time you'll be in a position where you just combo for a long time and then you get close to time. And I know you can side it out and obviously stuff like that, but the main reason is like the detriment to time is really bad just to have that one in your hand. And you can't target any of the Raidraptors with 0 stat line anywhere, which I'm pretty sure is actually just this. Like you can't like normal Raider's Wing and then use Pain Lanius, so that combination was just like really bad and I didn't want to do that. So, and then the Mimicry. I've seen a lot of people bump this up to 2, and I kind of like the idea to have it for the grind. Even though if you use the Roost, you don't really need it because you can just put it back. But there are situations where you don't want to put it back. You want to put other more important pieces back, so I get that. So I might try 2. And then the last Raidraptor is Samorg. This card's crazy. It doesn't chain block anything like it does in Flu. But the fact that it's like a non-special summoning extender, so like the sweetest play against into fire is like opening these 2, because then you get to this before they can Princess, because Princess only works on special. So it's really nice to have that type of interaction with the deck. I've seen also some people cut this down too, but I just disagree with that. Like I feel like you want as many copies of this as you do this, and yeah. So that's it for the Raidraptors and Wing Beasts. Going into the other Raidraptor cards, there's the one Rank Up Magic, Raidraptor's Force, the one Skip Force, the one Roost, and the one Glorious Bright. So I'm not playing a third Rank Up Magic because I think it's kind of cloggy. Every game I lost was because I opened like some combination of these. So I really just wanted to keep it as simplistic as possible. That being said, this weekend at locals, I'm probably going to try the Kali Yuga version just to see if it's worked its stone for the regional. Turn skipping seems to be pretty effective, but in the world full of hand traps, I might just go for this like cleaner, more consistent route. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot of like contention with a Xenon Raidraptor that you might want to cut these and put them in the side for going first. But I dedicated my entire side deck to just going second, because you're going first plan. You're so resilient, especially the way I like built up my main board, that you don't really need to worry about it. And then on to the reason I like Pure over Kali Yuga. We get to main a whole bunch of non-engine, and we get to play through Crossout with it. So Crossout obviously is like the card of the format right now. Everybody's playing the same amount of hand traps, and everybody's playing the same named hand traps. So just Crossout is insane right now. You kind of just like, I don't want to say you need it, because there are decks that can afford to not play, and there are decks who just can't fit it. But a lot of these decks that are like mainly like a small condensed engine and like have a lot of room for non-engine just want to play this card. So for the non-engine that went with the Crossout, there's 3 copies of Ash, 3 Valor. I kind of wish that I did 2 in a Mourner just for diversity, but I never got punished for that. And the Ash being here, like I know a lot of people are worried about like getting Hedud, but like, man, it doesn't really matter. Like the point is like seeing Ash with another hand trap. If your only hand trap is Ash, then it's probably honestly best to just like hold it, unless you can like, you know, snuff out that their hand's kind of weak. But that's just my opinion. I think that you still need Ash. Catching the Sinful Spoil, catching the second Snake Eye monster that specials from deck to get the Flame Birch is pretty important. 3 Nibiru. I hated this card all day. I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated it all day. I resolved it once. I mainly got cross-outed. So maybe in the future I'll probably like put this just like one of in the deck or something like that. I never really wanted it. I sided it out a lot. I would keep one going and going first with the cross outs, but yeah. Then there's 3 Infinite Impermanents. You know, best card in the game right now. And then 1 Droll and Lockbird for cross out. Droll's not particularly great at my locals, so Nibiru used to be, but the way people are changing their decks around, I'm probably going to move this to 3 and this to 1 if I keep playing like this ratio. Because I feel like that you just kind of need cross out for this type of deck. Like this deck can play around a lot of hand traps and can play through a lot of hand traps, interruption. But like if you can make it so much easier, like 1 is fine, 2 is like almost impossible depending on the combination. So I just like, you know, why not just make it easier? I usually never cross out the first hand trap unless it's like on a choke point, which not a lot of people have learned yet. One of the advantages to this deck is players not knowing what the cards do or how to stop it. That's the main deck. It's 41, I believe. It's either 40 or 41. I'm pretty sure I bumped it to 41 for the Droll. It played fine. Like I only really bricked a handful of times, and even then the bricks weren't really bricks because like I just basically just drew nothing but all these, so they didn't get to play either. So I just got to stall out until I got to play. Anyway, extra deck for the links. The only 2 links, 2 Y-Strix. You could play SP Knight if you wanted to, but with Fuzzy it's a little bit hard. I understand SP is just for like when you absolutely open nothing and for turns 2 and 3, but I dedicated my non-engine slot to Evil Swarm Nightmare, which we'll talk about now. It's a Dark Exceed, so it's harder to get locked out of it. You can get locked out of it when you use Fuzzy, obviously, but this card's also really great. There's a lot of end boards where you can add this to it if you don't use Fuzzy, which has only happened like once or twice, but 2 towers and then like this guy to put everything face down like helps you like play around the fact that one of the only true routes is Underworld Goddess and Access Code Talker. If Access Code Talker gets to a 3rd or 4th, or Link 3 or Link 4, so being able just to have this is really nice. Stop it from getting to that point. Because you play around pretty much every other type of card since Kaijus aren't really popular at the moment. Nobody's playing Sphere Mode or Lava Golem yet. For the Exceeds, we got 3 4-Strix. Absolutely ridiculous that this card is not once per turn. Didn't know that for the longest time. Now I understand why everybody's on 3 of it. Yeah, this card's crazy. It's broken. It's like the reason to play the deck, honestly. I love this card. Not playing any cool spicy options other than the Samorg, which really isn't spicy at this point. Like, I'm not playing like Zephyros or anything like that. But that might be something to like try down the road. 2 Raiders Knight. Every list I saw played 2 of this, so I don't think you actually need to once you learn how to like manage your resources and play the combo. Because like, you'll put it underneath the Big Falcon, but then you'll like detach it. So like you can shuffle it back if you need it. I'm not gonna say the second one hasn't come up, but I feel like this is like a 16th card, and I'll get into what I would play over this in a little bit. Actually, right now. So Arc Rebellion and Brave Strix. The other card I would play over this is the other rank 5. I can't remember the names, like Revolution Falcon, I believe. Instead of like the second Raiders Knight, just to give you more like options. Because there are some level modulations built into the archetype as well. So like Mimicry has a level modulation, never gets used in the combo, but it'll give you an extra option. This card's ridiculous. Don't really need to explain that. The fact it searches for a rank up or Raidraptor card is crazy, and it's a 5. And this card was really good too. Just being able to negate the board, and the fact that it's really hard to out with a Raider's Wing underneath it, because then you can't target it or destroy it by card effects. So it's really cool. For the 7, we got the Arsenal Falcon. I really want to play 2 of this as well. It's pretty hard to resolve too, honestly though. But like, it's like if the first one gets stopped, you know, which doesn't happen too often. But this card is ridiculous. everybody knows this because of Cash Tira, but like even if you get nibbed here, like you just add this, you know, you just go on top of this, and then you can like detach, go search for Tribulanius or Strangulanius, I'm sorry, and then like, you know, special summon back, and then you can still keep playing like no matter what with this card. Like it doesn't have to get bigger, which is just awesome. This card's crazy though. This is the 15th card that literally never comes up. It literally has to be in the extra deck because of Bestials and DD Crow. I don't know what it even does. I've never read it. I just know that you have to play it for that interaction, so you can at least summon something off of your Raidraptor's force. At least in the pure version, you have to play this. So. The one Ultimate Falcon, this card is also crazy. Like the extra deck for the Raidraptor cards is nuts. It's just always been like hard to get to, from what I understand. But the fact that this card is just a towers, it also like during your turn you can shut off your opponent's entire hand. So like if they're waiting to like hit something with like Niv, or they're waiting to hit something with Imperm because the Raider's wing like blocking everything, you get this card and they can't activate anything for the rest of the turn. Why is that a condition, or why is that an effect on this card? And then the new boss monster, Rising Revolution Falcon. I think I've been calling it Rebellion Falcon. It is Rebellion Falcon, not Revolution Falcon. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Anyway, this card is ridiculous. This card is amazing. The fact that it's a 4,000 towers that also just happens to blow up the entire opponent's board on summon, and also just for some reason also happens to have the fact that you could attach 3 to copy any of the Raidraptor XC effects engrave, is a little bit unreal as a card effect. Like being able to like copy Force Strix, being able to copy Arsenal Falcon is just like really good. Like this card is ridiculous. I love it. Just a huge towers monster that it's so hard to out in this format, like outside of Raging Phoenix, out of the fire decks, and Access Code Talker. And I know there are some people who are playing like the Underworld Goddess stuff still because of Pearly, or just like having the IP play for it to remove a body off certain matchups. But like if they don't play the Underworld Goddess, there realistically isn't a whole lot of ways to out this. And if they get to the Raging Phoenix part of the combo, like you should have hand traps, or like I never like use this second one until like the first one is threatened to be outed. So like it's really just hard to out these cards, and then the fact you have 2 of them that you have to out, it's just nuts. And that's it for the extra. For the side deck was, the theory behind it was I did not feel like I could lose going first, unless I just opened, you know, kind of mediocre, and my opponent opened 4 non-engine. So the idea was just play everything for going second, with the ability to play first if needed. Because like certain hand traps weren't good or something like that, or I needed the trim on hand traps. I was like nib, so I needed room. So yeah, the idea was every card is for going second, and it worked phenomenally. So we have 4 Bestials. These cards are ridiculous. Going first or second, you can side these cards in because as like voiceless got more popular, so did these, and now you have to like respect them. So like these are now just actually validated cross out targets for going first. Usually if I'm siding for going first or cross out, I won't side them in unless the deck they were playing also can be hindered by them. So like, for example, fire. I will put this in for fire because this hits the IP play for the pure deck, and it hits Link Karibo, which is really important for the deck, honestly, is hitting Link Karibo. And like these do apply like a decent amount of pressure. They force IP, SP, and stuff like that. But if I do side them in, it's just a 3. I know that a lot of people are playing the Baldrake over the second one of this, but like this, me playing them is like less so for, it's less so that I need them for continual grind. I need them just to like kill. So like this card just helps me kill, and Baldrake just doesn't do anything. It could come up a little bit more in this deck, but you have to get rid of a card, and sometimes like depending on hands, like because you'll open a lot of non-engine hands where you have like 1 or 2 starters or 1 or 2 cards to play, and then like 3, and then you tribute your like XD because you have to, as an example. It's not really worth it. So Yeah, I genuinely think that this is the good ratio, but I can see the argument for cutting this one for a ball drake or just playing the 3. I wanted 4, so that's why I played the second Druis. Then I'm citing the other 2 Drolls. I'm not citing Mourner, and I'm not citing I forget the other one, Dogwood. For time, for locals at least, last weekend. This weekend I do have a time card for the deck. It's called Meteors or Meteor Draconis or something, Raidraptor Meteor Draconis, something like that. It's level 4 that you can summon, and when you do, you can burn your opponent for 6, but this is the only other hand trap I cited for going second. Just for the matchups it's really good against. There aren't really a whole lot of the meta matchups that really matter with this card right now. A lot of them could play around it, even suboptimally, but you know, the idea is a combination of hand traps, so the one Droll by itself won't do enough. I play 3 Cosmic. I would oftentimes side this in very heavily for the fire matchup. For locals, this past weekend I only played 1, but for the online testing, I would side this in a lot for fire. Just being able to like snipe IP, snipe the formula synchron, snipe something. The back row is just so important, and then the lab matchup being able to like let them do something, you chain this and ban or something. Even if they can chain the trap, who cares? Like you prevent Lady from doing her thing. But as we've seen recently, lab is not something that we really need to worry about. This was my favorite card in the side this week. Honestly, I've been kind of wanting to trying out a board breaker-ish version, and this is the reason why. Like Forbidden Droplet, this card is absolutely insane in this current format, except against the shifter decks, obviously. But Droplet just, you know, this also makes it so much easier just to kill your opponent. Like if you open Tribute Lanius and your opponent just like plays face up, so like they have no hand, you could just like summon Tribute Lanius and burn the other 4 cards in your hand, and you have full combo through it. It's ridiculous. You literally never need another card, and then like there are so many 2-card ways to play with this deck that you could just Droplet and just wipe the board. This card overperformed every time I drew it. I won the game. I really want to like try to tweak the main deck to be board breakery. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But this card was absolutely phenomenal. I love Droplet. And then the last 3 cards were 2 Tactics and a Called By. Traditionally, these would come in going first. They were for going second as well. But for going first, like, you know, you don't need 3 Nibiru. So that's clean there. And then usually, depending on the matchup, one of these are like debatably negotiable to be cut. Most of the time it would be Valor. So like I would like typically going first do this. This adds a lot more protection. Also just like I said before, where your deck can play through 1 hand trap pretty easily and not really be phased. This will take care of the second one for free and give you knowledge. So like this is just more copies to cross out. And then the Call by the Grave is really good at the current moment, not just for hand traps, but also for the fire deck, you know, being able to hit Princess, stuff like that. I think going forward for the board breaker version, I would put things like Soul Release in the deck evenly, you know, just stuff like that. But for what I want, like the idea of like putting all going second cards for the deck really just performed beautifully. It did so much work because, like I said, your going first is so strong that you don't really need to side for going first. You should be able just to do well unless you brick. So, yeah, that's that. That's it for the deck profile, though. For the locals report, the part that nobody really cares about, we'll save it to the end. I went 3-1. My loss was to Fire, round 3. Great player. He's really good at the game, and he knows the Fire deck very well. So it was really cool to see something like that because it's not a lot of people were playing Fire in my locals other than me, so it's nice to see that. So my round 1 was the mirror match. I won 2-0. Round 2 was against... Oh man, I feel bad that I always forget what round 2 is. If I remember, I'll come back to it. Round 3, like I said, was against Fire. great match. Game 3, he played very well. He played around everything really well. So not to discredit his play there, but I think the biggest reason I lost is because I drew my opening hand had this, that, and so like my opening hand was these 5, and my draw for turn was Tribute, which Tribute would be great, obviously, but when you're playing through the full fireboard, you can't really do anything. And I only had the 1 imperm, which I just saved, but I got lullabied, so. And he saw that I didn't have Ash, so he just went like for the full nut because I sided out all of them for the droplets and cosmics and stuff. And then round 4 was Runic Goatee. That matchup was kind of cringe. We kind of just didn't draw anything ever. But this deck, like I was stating before, Bloom Vulture, just ridiculous card. But yeah, that's the deck. I love this deck. The series is going to continue every week. This is my motivation to keep uploading content. So next week we'll do another deck profile. We'll record some feature matches with the deck. Leave it in the comment section down below if you want to just see all my matches or if you want to see some diversity still. I know traditionally I like to get other players on the camera to get them to watch their matches, help them learn and study what they did wrong potentially. But for this series, I think I'm going to do nothing but Raidraptor content for local feature matches. But if that's something you guys don't want to see, just let me know in the comment section. The goal is to get this to the YCS and get top 32. It's been a while since that's happened, so I just want to have it happen again. I want to get that dopamine again. And like I said, the first real test for this deck will be this Sunday, at the Top Deck Regionals up in Library, Pennsylvania, I think. It's library. It's like right outside Pittsburgh, basically. So remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.